Filmmakers from all over the world are gracing Stockholm with their presence. Today, we will talk to three of them, who each in their own way have worked to secure his own deeply personal vision.
What is that?
Gareth Edwards has created the huge creatures that roam the earth in monsters. And during this year's Stockholm Film Festival, he held a masterclass in special effects.
If you look at previous monster movies, in the 50s and stuff, it was really a metaphor for the fear of the atomic bomb and radioactivity, and then became a fear of communism. And I think the modern fear is terrorism. I didn't want it to be this political movie, but yeah, that was the sort of analogy I was trying to achieve. You look at a lot of filmmakers, or my heroes, they made their best work, or a lot of them made some of their best work when they had no resources at all, they had very low budget. All the strengths that you know, I feel that we got from Monsters were born out of the fact we had no money whatsoever, and so if you have more money, we would have probably made a worse film.
They're taking us through the infected zone.
It's the only option we've got.
Yeah, so I saw myself as a filmmaker who's pretending to be a visual effects person, and then you suddenly realise that everyone else perceives you the other way around, that everyone thinks you're a visual effects person who suddenly wants to be a filmmaker. And so for me, it wasn't, the biggest leap wasn't going from visual effects into film directing. The biggest leap was earlier than that, which was going from a film director in my head and trying to pretend that I could do visual effects. I was using a lot of the things that I'd learned at film school to hide the fact that I didn't know what I was doing, like composition and lighting and things, to kind of make my effects look better than they were. So, so it was weird. It's kind of, yeah, I always felt that the hardest bit was becoming a visual effects person, and then going back to directing just felt like, oh, thank God. I honestly didn't know what the creatures were going to look like when we were filming the film. But then I heard later that Spielberg didn't know what the UFOs were going to look like in Close Encounters, so I didn't feel so bad about that. And also, all you're really getting when you're shooting is the reaction of the actors. So as long as that looked believable and they were looking at the right height, it kind of felt like I'll figure it out later. Monsters was basically an idea I had whilst I was on holiday. My next film I want to do is an idea I had whilst I was on holiday. So it's really important I keep going on holiday. I've got to keep telling that to people.
The Pope.
The Pope?
Once we got him, you know how much we're going to get for him?
How much?
I want $1 from every Catholic in the world.
Academy Award winner Bob Murawski found the original reels for Gone with the Pope, and then spent 15 years editing them in true grindhouse fashion.
So a lot of times I got frustrated because a lot of the footage was really hard to work with, and there were a lot of technical problems. I roll a film from the movie, some of the dailies, and I don't know if you can see, but it's really faded. It was really faded red. It was also really tricky because the way Duke shot it, it was so low budget that pretty much it was a 1-to-1 shooting ratio, meaning that he pretty much just would do one take of everything, unless it was totally terrible, because he was so vigilant about not wanting to waste film, and he really wanted to save money. So pretty much, what you see is what he shot. Well, working on a movie for a long period of time was interesting because, this one took 15 years. Most movies you finish in 6 months to maybe a year and a half or something, but it took 15 years not because it really took 15 years of full-time work. It took that because I was working on it between jobs, because I work as a professional editor on Hollywood movies. I would whenever I got busy on one of those movies, I would be busy for a year and a half, and therefore I would have to sort of set this aside. So it basically became like a hobby. Whenever I had free time between shows, I would work on it in my garage. And it was just me working on it. It was me and a couple of my friends. My wife, Chris, worked on it with me, and some of my friends who I work with in editing, worked on it. But so it was really just kind of a spare time, labor of love kind of thing. And finally, between Spider-Man 3 and I think Hurt Locker, I finished most of the work on it. And then I did the sound mix after I finished Hurt Locker and basically finished the movie. So it's like an early Scorsese movie crossed with like a John Waters movie. So it's like a really violent gangster picture, but with something to offend everybody, which is makes it really entertaining and outrageous.
Something for you. Take this and stick it up in your mother's twat.
Mattias Sandström creates his own dreamscape with a system camera in his feature debut, Fuerteventura.
What attracted us to shooting on a DSLR is that we wanted to shoot it like documentary handheld style, but we didn't want the DV shaky dogma look. We wanted to make it look like a movie. So, and now we had a small camera that was digital and easy to use and everything, and we could, but we could still get cinematic images. When you go someplace, you experience things that you would never experience at home. I mean, when I go out of my house, I don't really feel the smell of anything. But when I go abroad, it's like I come out from the hotel, and it's like, ooh, there's a smell. And if I can sort of like, if I can convey that emotion of smell to an audience in a film, that's maybe something I want to do.